Good evening, everyone. Hello.
Hello.
My name is Thomas Cook. I'm the Executive Director of Rehabilitation for Wisconsin in Action, and I welcome all of you here tonight on behalf of our organization and Residential Services Association. We're happy to sponsor this event to provide some information about what's going on with long-term care in Wisconsin, as well as what people's rights are in case changes are made that you don't agree with. This is kind of a critical time right now. We know that one of the managed care organizations that serves Waukesha County, not both of them, just one, has been making some rate reductions within the last couple of months, and I think people may have questions and comments about that. The way we're going to structure this evening is that I'm going to make a presentation, and then Attorney Rock Plato, who's a disability rights attorney, will make a presentation. So we think maybe that will be perhaps the first hour of this evening, and then we're going to have an hour of comments and questions, and hopefully people can tell stories about what's happening with your individuals that you care about, as well as opportunities then to ask questions in case we hit on something here that you're not clear about or you'd like more information about. So that's kind of the structure for this evening. I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to talk quite a bit about where managed care came from, why we have it, the advantages of it, some of the downsides that we're seeing, and maybe some of the things we might be able to do about it to try to structure things a little bit differently. First of all, I think everybody knows that it used to be different, right? Okay, there used to be a county system. And you remember the movie The Way We Were? Well, that's the way it was. And certainly we're not there anymore, but at one time the counties ran the long-term care system, and they still do in 15 counties in the state, including Dane County and Brown County, Rock County. But there's 15 counties that have not yet entered the system. I think the expectation is that they would do it within the next couple of years. But what they did was they took in the state and federal dollars. Federal dollars come through Medicaid. So when you hear about the Medicaid program, it's actually the largest funder of long-term care in the country. Many times extra county dollars came into the mix as well. I know in Washington County, Dane County, out west as well, there were some counties that put in extra dollars, and so they were able to provide programs that weren't available in some parts of the state. And that was actually one of the problems with the way long-term care used to be structured, because it was uneven. We didn't have supported employment like in southwest Wisconsin and Iowa and Grant County, because they didn't put in the extra county dollars. And so, whereas Dane County pretty much guaranteed that everybody coming out of a special education program in high school would have an opportunity to work in a supported employment kind of job. So one of the big things that happened, of course, primarily in the 1980s, 1990s, was a lot of people came out of state institutions. We really downsized them greatly. So, we used to have Northern Wisconsin Center, which is, just a kind of an intensive treatment program now. It doesn't really house very many people. And we still have Central Wisconsin Center and Southern Wisconsin Center, but those areas of the continuum, if you will, the institutional end of things, have been dramatically downsized over time. And if you looked at what those services cost, because they have requirements that mean that they have to meet all kinds of institutional levels of care. They have to have certain designated professionals on staff in order to be able to provide the kind of assessment that the federal government requires from the institutional programs, as well as the fact that the state employees tended to make more than the community employees did. It just cost a lot more. So there was a really big incentive for counties to try to place people in the community with the proper supports. And so through the 1990s and into the 2000s, we saw a lot of people coming out of those places. And in fact, when Governor Doyle came into office in 2002, one of the very first initiatives that he announced, which was kind of brought about by the Survival Coalition and People First, was the downsizing of Northern Wisconsin Center. And those people coming out of those facilities, or that facility in particular, had a hard time coming out at first because there wasn't enough community capacity. So, you know, in some cases, the staff of Northern Wisconsin Center kind of opened their own homes, that they served people that they knew really well. They came out, you know, basically with the staff. And in other cases, you know, these larger kind of corporate providers came in and they gave assurances that they could provide a quality program to the families who were concerned about what was going to happen to people as they came out of these institutions, because they felt they were protected. They felt like they were being served well in the institutional setting. And so, you know, as is the case almost universally around the country, when you have people coming out of institutions, the parents, you know, initially resist. Certainly the unions resist because it means their jobs, but the parents resist because they're afraid of what's going to happen in the community. Well, that was really a successful downsizing, because good services were provided in the community, but they cost money. They cost a lot less than it costs to provide in the institutional setting, but they were, you know, getting rates of something like $300 to $400 a day in order to take people out of those programs.